Hi, my name is Temitope Ola. I'm the founder of Edacy.
What drew you to this idea?
Ah, I started Edacy from a personal experience that I had as a young African. Growing up, I wanted to have the best education. On the other hand, my country, Nigeria at the time, our education system was just going down. So I was ready to leave Nigeria because I felt that coming to Switzerland or coming to Europe was the best thing for me to do, and the best thing and the best place where I could have better education. So I was ready to do anything to get here. I remember one night I was planning to come by road with my brother, and my mom discovered that we were doing that, and she was like, my dad, you have to support these kids because they're going to take the road to go to Europe and they're going to die. Most of the young people who are leaving Africa and coming to Europe, and many of them dying in the desert or drowning in the Mediterranean, that could have been me. Education is not only a fundamental human right, but it's also the foundation and the catalyst for every other thing that goes in society or in human development. And I was really bent to start to, you know, to put the rest kind of my career and my experience to play in order to make those changes necessary. So my mission with Edacy is really to provide highest quality education possible for African kids at home.
What has been Edacy's biggest achievement up to now?
We started with a pilot program that just is still ongoing in Senegal, and we've completely, blown our metrics. Everything that we expected or we thought was completely surpassed. 700 people applied. More than 300 of them were actively following all the programs online because we had a component which is purely based on MOOCs online, and students are learning online on their own and coming to meetups. So that was really great. We were convinced that all these students learning, no matter what, even if they were not accepted into the program at the end, they have gained some great knowledge.
What would you tell somebody, a young person in Africa who has the idea of traveling to Europe or thinking that it's better when they come to Europe? What would you advise? What is your advice?
I will say that I gave example in when I was speaking with a selected candidate in Senegal. I told them, looking back, I kind of regret that I left Nigeria. But again, you're smarter when you look back, isn't it? So my advice is there is so much to do in Africa, and there is so much opportunity. Living Africa is not necessarily the best thing because Europe is hard. Europe, US, etc. I give them example. I worked in places and I did things that I would never have done, growing up in Nigeria if I had, stayed in Nigeria and been working. I worked on construction, for example, to pay my school fees. Working in construction is something that I would never have done in Nigeria. It was freaking hard. Looking into Europe and thinking, oh, it's all easy there, it's gonna be easy. No, forget it. If you're determined, you're smart, and you're working hard in Africa, you will make it.
And what's the biggest challenge facing Edacy now?
I think one of the biggest challenge that I'll see, we've not started facing it, but it's really to validate all our hypotheses. And these hypotheses are the following. One, that, that students or talents are willing to engage with the program. Second, that commercial and private sector companies will pick up the cost of training. And third, that enterprises and students working together will create a much bigger value and at the end transform the process of learning. My goal is to provide an alternative to college education for technical and engineering skills, because Africa needs so much engineers, Africa needs so much technical people, and our current university system, our higher education system cannot train them fast enough. With the magnitude of the problem, of the challenges that Africa has, we need an alternative way to train talents at scale and to train these skills in a very scalable and massive way. So my goal and my challenge is to prove that hypothesis that a dual education model that is adapted to the African context can produce skilled engineers and talent in the scale, number, and quality that Africa needs to grow.